Welcome back to Dark Corner Streaming. Variously known as Lemora, A Child's Tale of the Supernatural, The Legendary Curse of Lemora, Lemora, Lady Dracula, or just Lemora, this is one of those films that divides online reviewers between 5-star masterpiece and 1-star boredom, with the sense that both are overstating their case to counterbalance the opposing view. The only feature directorial credit of Richard Blackburn, Lemora is not quite a glorified student film, but certainly low budget, which makes the atmosphere it summons pretty impressive, although the acting is sometimes much less so.
I won't tolerate any more of these unseemly displays of affection.
Blackburn himself playing the Reverend, who is looking after young Lila Lee as her father is a notorious gangster. Though the Reverend's interest is not wholly spiritual. Lila gets a message telling her that her father is badly injured and wishes to see her, so she runs away into a stylized, or possibly just cheap, nightmare of pervy men.
So you look like someone who likes chocolates.
And strange characters.
It's kind of late. I might have to charge you extra.
But the bus trip is sidetracked. And Lila eventually finds herself the guest of Lemora.
Hello, Lila. I'm Lemora.
The film is engaging enough to this point, if a little unsubtle, but it's this midsection on which its reputation is based, taking a cue from Carmilla, in the almost unwilling infatuation between the characters. On the one hand, this is problematic because Lila is supposed to be 13, albeit played by 17-year-old Cheryl Smith of Laser Blast, The Incredible Melting Man, and some well-known cult films that we haven't reviewed. The film is never gratuitous, although it's worth noting that 40 minutes were cut before release, but there's still a deliberate eroticism to the relationship.
Why, how tense we are. You're not afraid now, are you?
On the other hand, if you can forget how old the character is supposed to be, which is easy because God knows she doesn't look it, these scenes have a spellbinding quality to them. Unnerving, surreal, captivating.
When you're going through it, it's so intense that sometimes you feel like you're going to die.
If the atmosphere takes a cue from European Gothic, crossed with an American folk horror, then the plot seems to owe a debt to The Wicker Man, which it almost certainly doesn't given when they were released. But it's another tale of a devoutly Christian and indeed virginal character hunting for someone in a strange village, fighting her own arousal, becoming the hunted herself. Which is what happens when this sense of sexually charged unease builds to a reveal, which we're not going to reveal, that is obvious but very well handled.
Tomorrow, after the ceremony, you and I will become blood sisters.
This is a pivot point in the film, and after that, I think even the film's admirers would admit that it declines. The hunt sequence is reasonably tense, but conventional. While the final act gives the unavoidable impression that no one knew how to end it, that all that imagination was in service of an aesthetic rather than a narrative.
Lila.
Which is a shame, because this is mystifying in all the right ways. And for all its amateurishness, which I'm not denying, it's oddly irresistible. The problem with films that draw you in to give you a glimpse of an unknowable world is that finishing them in a satisfying way can be tricky. For me, this fails that acid test, but I still found it worth watching, although those online reviews suggest that this will not be everyone's experience. You can find it on Tubi or YouTube. Thanks for watching. If you prefer a more conventional vampire story, why not check out mine? There's a link in the description below. Have you seen this film, and if so, what did you think of it? Let us know in the comments below.